So let me begin the next set of series that we're about to talk to is the layout number 3, but this is where we left off last time. Is that this is from layout 2 with it. So you can modify this to fit what you are currently using with it. Remember now, this jumbotron is this white area, this gray area, and this second row, this 3 column, this is a second row. So I think of this as your first row, which is a div tag, and this is your second row, which is the div tag. And inside each one of these div tag, you nest in a category, a column inside of it. So let's say you want to have 6 of these squares in here, then you would actually just copy that div column, that div row that you have, and you just paste underneath it as well with it. So looking at the code, so this is what I'm talking about right here. So if I want to have something like the same set of rows in beneath it, so what do? I would actually take this entire row right here, row to row. And how do I know where this div tag ends with it? Is if I clicked on this, this would tell me where the closing of the div tag. So I would actually take this, starting with this line all the way down to line 42, 21 to 42 in this case. I would copy that, Control C, copy it, and you can come down here, a couple of spaces down, and Control V. That actually will copy that content in there as well with it. So if you go back to your browser at this time with it, you're going to see, look, I just copy that row, I just paste it at the bottom. That's the second row with it. So again, I'm going to talk to you about what is the best template for you to use with it. You don't want, it's like building a house. You don't want to build a 6,000 square foot home and you don't have so much furniture to put in. Same thing as if you have a lot of stuff that you want to display in your portfolio, then you're welcome to place it in and find the right fit for your portfolio with it as well. It could be your first layout, it could be the second layout. I want to talk to you about the next layout. It's layout number 3. So the layout number 3, basically, I want to add a little bit every time I do this. You still have your jumbotron, you still have your row with it, but I'm going to have a little place over here. I'm going to change it and modify this to be maybe it could be something like a navigation system, and down here you could have what's called current events as well with it, so upcoming events, another area with it, but you still have your row that comes across here in this section as well with it. So it looks something like this. This is what we're trying to achieve here. This is the layout number 3 in the Bootstrap 4. So I'm going to talk to you about the navigation system. This is about me. You could have your resume, you could have your cover letter in here as well. You can have a piece of your graphics that you have, a logo here. This is a good place to have as well with it. Some sort of heading and your navigation links with it as well. You could have your pieces of graphics here, your case studies. This is where you would actually get into a little deeper layer of your case studies with it as well. So all of this, and then of course I also gave you a footer in here as well. So this is the layout number 3, and we're doing Bootstrap 4 in this time with it as well. Okay, so I want to show you this, is that once you do this and you can resize and you can see how this wraps in your responsive layout with it, okay, and you can see how it changes with it as well. So this is what we're trying to achieve here with it as well. So let me minimize this and get back to your page with it here. Now coming into your page right here, let me just remove the content with what we're the bare minimum content with this. So let me just strip down everything that you have up to this time with it. Let me just take this part out for now, okay, the whole body part for it. So and I'm going to hit delete, remove it, and then I'm going to do file, save as. I'm going to call this in the same in another directory. Go back to your class project. I want to right mouse click inside of this. It doesn't matter how you want to do this. I'm going to create a folder. This folder is going to be what? Portfolio _ layout 3. Okay, so this is the layout 3 HTML. So I'm going to call this thing layout 3 with it. So it looks like this. So you have 3 subdirectories: portfolio v1, portfolio layout 2, portfolio layout 3, and this is the one that we just did, was this one right here. So make sure you have your setup. It look like mine, the way how you do with it. Like I said, this next portfolio is a little bigger, a little grander with it. I assume you've been watching my first series with it, so you have somewhat of a understanding of how Bootstrap work with it as well with it. So make sure you understand the Access Lab 2 with it, layout 2, before we move forward on this thing with it as well. So here we go. So here's what I want you to know before we get with it. So you still have your CDN, your content delivery network with it. You still has to change everything the same. The only thing we're going to add inside of this, underneath, if you place your cursor underneath it, is I'm going to combine is an embedded CSS with this, and we have to use the style tag. And inside of that, remember, this is between our head tag. The style tag is between my head tags with it. This is the embedded, or what's called the internal with it. We're going to call something that's called faking. Faking with a little faking class with it. And this is for our image, that when we actually bring in your graphics with it as well. So I'm going to use the height to make it fit. I'm going to use 200 pixel. Come to the right of that semicolon. And then we're going to call this thing, call it background, just the regular background with this, and we're going to use the AAA with it as well. Okay, so you're welcome to use that with it. So, or select on that, that's fine. It's the hexadecimal value with it. All right, so this is the only thing that's in starting out with layout number 3 with it. Everything else is still the same with it. Change the title this time. This is layout number 3. All right. Still using Bootstrap, but this time I'm going to just tell this is Bootstrap 4, which is a different version that we've been working on with it as well. Okay. All right. You still have your Jumbotron with it. So come inside your body. Inside your body for this thing is you're going to put in your div tag. And inside your div tag, you're going to use the class. Remember that class is called your Jumbotron. And in your Jumbotron, you can use the text area center. It's the same one that we just did a few minutes ago with it. And come to the right of that. And then you're going to do the style. You're going to do the margin dash bottom, and you're going to do a colon 0. Okay, so and then a semicolon. Just leave that blank for me. It looks like this. So there's a colon 0, and you can move this at the bottom with it, and just leave the second parameter empty with it, and close off that tag. And click here and move down. Inside of that, you're going to put in an H1 header, and you're going to call this my layout 3 with Bootstrap 4. Okay, page. So it's up to you. This is just some text we're going to just do some, and I'm going to use that P tag again to show resize to this responsive page to see effects. Okay, so so this is your Jumbotron right now. You're going to start inside your Jumbotron. Remember, we had that navigation that we're looking at with it. This navigation it's the same type of navigation so you'll be using with it. There's everywhere I'm going to use a placeholder with it. We're going to use some buttons in here and some things in here. So if you want to document as we do this is really good for you to document your code in here as well with it. So I'm going to remember how we document. You could do like this, and or you could do, let's do this, navigation starts here. Okay, so you could see if there's a start, you always want to give it a ending. Later on, it just helps you to find the set of code where all the navigations are. So it's anywhere in between here is where the navigation takes place. I'm going to say navigation ends. All right. Ends here. All right. So you got the section that you're going to be doing. All right. Let me, this is getting almost over 10 minutes here. So I'm going to stop the video for the first part. This is end of part 1 of layout number 3.